Once again, greetings YouTube. Now to continue our continuing series of reviews on Hell on Wheels, our follow-up, if you will, as requested. Sorry this is a little delayed, delayed by like one day. After finishing the episode, I kind of just was so tired of this, passed out, didn't feel like doing the recording. And lo and behold, because I was uploading the Walking Dead episode during the Hell on Wheels, immediately start getting a hit or two on, are you doing the review on Hell on Wheels? I appreciate that people are now actually watching or anticipating a review on this. Sorry for the delay then. So I recorded this thing first thing in the morning. I still have my morning mouth, as you guys can probably hear. So I didn't record anything because there really wasn't, also, not only was I tired, but there wasn't anything really to talk about with this episode. I want to use the term filler, but I don't think that's properly the way to go with this one. Fillers are more of an episode where you just you have more written, or more episodes than you have a plot written. It's more common for a series out of, a 20 season episode, 20 season. Not 20 season, a 20 episode season. Blah. This isn't really a filler. It's because it's also a filler is something completely deviating from the regular plot, and just we're gonna look at this episode. The characters take a break from the plot to do something else. In this case, this is just continuing all the plot points, but it's nothing big. So it's a rather sit back and go, we'll see what happens. Or it's setting stuff up, but not setting stuff up clearly, if you get my drift. We have Bohannon. He attempts to, and I was actually surprised they got this close. He tracks down the sergeant. He finds the sergeant at the labor camp, and apparently the guy is already on the run. I don't quite get that as clearly why the sergeant is running. I mean, yes, he's heard about the death of Johnson. Yet, as soon as somebody kind of shows up at camp, he's already running like, I know this guy's gonna kill me. I mean, yes, everyone else in his old squad has been killed slowly, but I'm not sure how aware of that is he. I mean, Johnson at least he was the foreman at the center camp, so it makes sense that he was a little bit more informed on all this. The sergeant there's been out at a fucking lumber party for months on end. I don't see how he probably picked up on how, Johnson was killed. Clearly there is somebody coming for me. Because when your drunkard of a captain at the main camp, who is really a piss poor foreman too, is killed, clearly that means someone's coming for you. I think there's a bit of a plot hole this season, but at the same time it was kind of way too early to resolve this whole revenge plot. Because, well, I mean, come on, there really isn't much more. I mean, Bohannon is the main character. Yes, we're following a cadre of other characters, but Bohannon's the main protagonist, and for him to get his revenge plot all done with early, it's kind of like, okay, why isn't this just in a miniseries? So it's been delayed, although at the same time I don't think they can really drag out his revenge plot too long. I think they will have to eventually move on from this. We'll see what they do, but at the same time, speaking of Johnson, Elam makes a very good point. He kind of looks, Bohannon starts drinking a lot, starts to not really care. Elam kind of comes in, okay, what do you want us to do with this black powder stuff and all this? And Bohannon's just like, I don't know, unload it, do what you want. Have a hangover. And he makes a comment, you're no better than Johnson, and it really is. You kind of see him becoming just exactly how Johnson was. Which you were hoping for him, at least I was pulling for him to actually really start improving on the railroad's construction. Maybe we'll start seeing that. I'm hoping we start seeing that. Maybe that's what the next episode is it looks like Elam and Johnson are going to get into a boxing match, and maybe that'll wake him up to do what he has to do. Because, I mean, you don't want to see this place fall too far behind. You do have to keep up with. It's one of those weird series also where it's not a historically accurate series. It has fictional characters put into actual historical events, but that means you still have to keep the historical events somewhat accurate. I.e., you have to have this place start to get built up, eventually ending in Appomattox. No, not Appomattox Point. Bloody hell, history is failing me right now. Ugh. They eventually have to meet up, and I'm sure that probably would be the conclusionary, either this season or this season finale would be they finally link the railroads and it's all done. And sorry for the pause there, but I'm really trying to think what else there is to talk. I mean, yes, Miss Bell's back, but the map issue isn't resolved. I'm trying to remember now if she had. I remember her taking the maps, but did she lose the maps, or does she still have them on her? Because she doesn't give them back to Meanie's character, which is kind of interesting. That's why I'm kind of asking myself: did she lose them at some point? Because clearly at this point, it's revealed that Meanie's character wants them back, or I should say Durant's character wants them back. And speaking of which, not even a very good episode for him. He didn't see him to do any. He didn't do any of his crazy shit that he normally does. He didn't go off on any of his crazy speeches. He did a little bit of the whole, railroads equal freedom speech, but not a whole lot of anything else. Which is a shame because normally his character's always kind of doing something so batshit insane. It makes the episode worth it. I hope they don't tune him down too much. I hope that's not the writers kind of adjusting, going, no, we have to make the character more likable and insane. No, he's likable because he does crazy, nasty things. Maybe this is an opposite episode for him. Maybe we get a little bit more of seeing him among civilized people. Maybe, or in this case, a lady. So maybe he has his good best behavior on. Another interesting character we had was a little interaction with the Swede, he's still perplexed by Bohannon, obviously. He kind of outright says he's kind of extremely interested in figuring out Bohannon, but at the same time, he's also kind of accepting that, okay, Bohannon's now the foreman, he's an official in this company, as am I. And even though he plans on figuring it out, he's now making kind of back alley deals. He's apparently taking black powder for some purpose. Not quite clear. But he kind of bribes Bohannon to let his crew take some of the black powder. Interesting. I'm not sure if they're ever going to go anywhere with that. Whether, what's he building up this black powder? He's probably just selling it. But he does kind of save Bohannon from getting into a fight with one of his own men purposely for this. So I don't know, maybe the Swede will stick around. At first I thought he was just going to be a very antagonistical character that you're going to just have to kill rather quickly. But the way they're kind of taking that character now, it looks like he is just going to continue to play a role. He could also be killed off. I think this is going to be kind of like The Walking Dead, where they're going to be... They will kill off characters all over the place. I think. We'll see. Other than that, again, not a whole lot to talk about this episode. It was a very... things are moving, things are being set up, stuff's being explained. Obviously, this is going to tie into the bigger story. But the only really interesting thing is we have with Reverend Cole, who he kind of reveals he was part of Bleeding Kansas. He ran with John Brown, and he killed some people. He was actually, he's a sinner. Although he was a sinner with a rather liberal agenda to begin with, I don't know. I mean, it makes sense with his character that he was, he's always kind of more of a moral extremist. I don't know if that's not the right way to say it, but it gave his character some rather interesting development for him to reveal his past. And again, not a whole lot. Like I said, hopefully next episode will be a little bit more interesting. And maybe a little, well, I don't know. We had some action in this. We had the explosion. So hopefully at least a little bit more interesting. Maybe a couple more interesting reveals. Hopefully some more crazy Durant stuff. Because we need more of that in this series. Signing off for now, guys.